They say motherhood is a journey, but let's be honest, sometimes it feels more like a roller coaster with no seatbelt. I bet you're like me, wondering why babies, or teens in my case, don't come with instruction manuals. Welcome to This Incredible Mom Life, the podcast that celebrates the beautiful chaos, quiet wins, messy moments, and everyday miracles of being a mom. I'm your host, Dummy, wellness coach, mom of 3 boys, and a passionate believer that you don't have to live at the mercy of PMS, burnout, or exhaustion. Join me every week as we hear the craziest and most unbelievable mom stories. I'll be sharing the huge accomplishments and triumphs of both our moms and their kids. We'll giggle, cheer on the kids, and discuss obstacles and lessons learned along the way. If you are struggling to be the best mom you can be, how open-minded are you to booking a free call with me? You don't have to live at the mercy of your cycle, and you definitely don't have to do it alone. Give yourself permission to let me be part of your support system. I believe that you weren't meant to just survive motherhood. You were meant to thrive in it.
Welcome back. I am here with another super mom with me. Elizabeth Rave is a dating and relationship coach for highly sensitive, intuitive women who are ready to call in deep, secure, soul-aligned love. Blending practical coaching with emotional and creative healing, Elizabeth draws from her background in NLP, hypnotherapy, and marriage and family therapy. She also incorporates art therapy and other expressive techniques to help her clients access their inner wisdom and move through blocks with compassion and clarity. Elizabeth is known for her intuitive guidance and grounded, nurturing approach. Her mission is to help highly sensitive women find relationships that feel safe, nurturing, and extraordinary without sacrificing who they are. Elizabeth is also the host of the Seeking True Love podcast, a soulful, thought-provoking show that explores the very nature of true love and how to create it in your own life. Each episode blends intuitive wisdom, practical dating guidance, and heartfelt conversations to help sensitive romantic women find the kind of extraordinary love they know is possible. When she's not coaching, you'll find her painting, enjoying the outdoors, or spending time with her beloved partner, family, and children. Thank you, Elizabeth, for taking time out of your day to be here with me.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be on this podcast.
It's going to be fun. I've had some great stories, so I'm sure you have one too.
Let's start. I wrote a bunch of stories, and you can pick and choose, but my kids give me some real
first of all,
zingers,
tell us who you are a mom to.
Yeah, so actually, I am a mom to a 4-year-old and a 7-year-old, and I am a stepmom to a 16-year-old and a 14-year-old.
Busy.
Yeah,
Boys,
it's busy.
girls, what do you have?
The teenagers are 2 boys.
Mm-hmm.
And we have an interesting blended family. I'm not with my with the dad of my kids anymore, but we were polyamorous when we were together, and his girlfriend moved in with us like 6 years ago, and we're still all living together and co-parenting together.
Nice.
So the 16-year-old is my ex-husband's son from his previous relationship. And the 14-year-old is his current partner, my ex, it's called a metamor when it's your partner's partner in polyamory, is her son from her previous relationship. And then I have given birth to the 4-year-old and the 7-year-old. And
Okay.
the 7-year-old is a boy and the 4-year-old is a girl. So she's the baby of the family and she's the girl of the family.
Nice.
And their names are Will and Iris.
Nice.
And yeah, so we have this really beautiful blended family of people look at us and they're like, wait, so you're living with your ex-husband and his girlfriend? And I'm like, yeah, we all just co-parent together, it's great. It's really great having 3 parents around, honestly.
If it works for you, yeah, go
yeah.
for it.
The extra set of hands. And it's beautiful to see how the kids really have blended together as siblings.
Nice.
Because they're not all necessarily biological siblings, but they don't think of themselves
Right.
as anything other than brothers and sisters. So
Nice.
it's really beautiful.
That's a different approach than what I'm used to hearing about and seeing. So Great. All right. Well, I'm sure with a house full of kids, you've got some stories. So go ahead and share one.
I do. I wrote down stories because my little ones, I spend most of my time with them. They keep my hands full. I have stories from the stepkids as well, but I wrote down some funny things that my kids have said to me because they, like I said, they really just sometimes have these one-liners that get to me. And it's funny how kids can be so observant and just straightforward with you at the same time. And um, like I'll start with this one. The other day, I was putting my 4-year-old daughter in her car seat, and I noticed that her shorts were kind of wet. And I said, like, Iris, why are your shorts wet? And just, straight face, she's like, because I got water on them. I was just
Okay.
like, I just laughed. I was like, yeah, all right. I don't know. You ask a 4-year-old a straightforward question, you're gonna get a straightforward answer.
That's right.
And she just, it's like, I always get those kinds of moments with my kids where I'm like, yeah, I don't, it's like they give you one answer and you're like, yeah, I don't know what I thought I was thinking or what answer I was looking for. Like, how did you get water on them? But I just moved on. I was like, okay, she answered my question. Very, very straightforward answer. And and another one from her that really got me the other day, and this is one of those moments, as a parent, I know every parent has that moment where you're in another room from your kids and your kids are playing, and suddenly you realize it's very quiet and it's just been a little, yeah, you've got
Dangerous.
that face. You're like, oh no, it's been quiet for a little too long. And I've told this story now to other parents, and every parent is like, oh, yeah, you know that feeling. It's like that ominous feeling of just, okay, what's going on? And so I went downstairs because I knew they were downstairs. And as I'm like coming down the last step, I'm coming around the corner to see what they're up to. I hear my daughter, my 4-year-old, call out to me with like the most gleeful, fun, joyful voice. Hey, Mama, do you want to come see a really big mess?
Oh no.
I was like, but I just started laughing because I was like, all right, well, now I know what I'm getting into. And actually, what was happening was not as bad as I thought based on that. But I said, I was expecting maybe a mess. I wasn't expecting her to like happily call it out. Hey,
Yeah.
Mama, do you want to see a really big mess? I just laughed for like 5 minutes straight when she said that. I was like, actually, what happened though was that they had taken this bag of rubber bands. Both kids were down there. They had taken a bag of rubber bands and dumped it all over the floor. So I was like, it's actually not as bad as I thought because I could sweep those up. It's a hardwood floor. But they had put some into like their toy kitchen in a bowl and she was stirring it. And she said, I made you rubber band spaghetti.
Awesome.
That was so sweet. I was like, all right, okay. I can deal with this. I think there's so much surrender in being a mom. I think that's one of the things I've learned is just so much patience and so much surrender that it's like, all right, well, I was I had one thing on my agenda, but now it's rubber band spaghetti. That's what's happening now. Whatever I was doing before, right now, rubber band spaghetti.
Yep.
Then it's picking up a whole bunch of rubber bands off the floor, which
Hmm.
they actually helped out with. They were very good about it. So
Nice.
that was good. And my 7-year-old son is very sweet and sensitive. I know you read my bio. I specialize in helping highly sensitive women, and I identify as a highly sensitive woman, and I do see some sensitivities in my kids as well. And in particular with my 7-year-old, just how thoughtful he is. And he's very sensitive to life cycles, like cycles of life and death. And he doesn't want bugs to die or things to die.
Oh,
And it's very sweet. And, sometimes it's a lot as a parent. He'll ask me questions. Usually it's right before it's bedtime. He's like, but
of
Mama,
course.
like, what if can somebody make a potion so that nobody dies? And I'm just like, oh, that's so sweet. And yeah, people have been trying for all of humanity
Yes.
to make that potion. And he's like, when I grow up, I'm going to make that potion. And I'm like, all right, then you'll go down in history as the guy who made that potion. And we went, I took him out to eat the other day And when we were walking back to the car, we saw this little June bug beetle that was on the ground, like on the pavement.
Mhm.
And we kind of like picked him up and put him into some bushes. And he was like, well, I want to take him home to the house. And I was saying,
Oh,
like, well, actually, if he comes home to the house, he's probably going to die. Like, how about we put him in these bushes? This is where he's going to live. And it started a whole conversation about bugs living and dying and creatures living and dying. And then we're in the car and he's still asking me questions. He's like, but is that beetle gonna be okay in the bushes? And it's so sweet. And then he goes into a long story about, if genies are real and I find the lamp and the genie comes and he gives me my wishes and he's like, I'm gonna wish for all the bugs to be alive. And I was like, that is
aw.
so sweet that you would wish for all the bugs to be alive with one of your three
Yeah,
wishes. And then he follows it up with, then I would ask for more wishes.
of course. So you gotta,
Yeah.
yes.
You got to ask for more wishes. Although that might be against the rules if the genie comes, but depends on the genie, right?
Oh my goodness. That is,
But
he's definitely very sweet. He's going to be a very
yeah,
caring person when he grows up.
yeah, he's so thoughtful. And it's something that his teachers have commented on as well, that he really thinks about things. And it's a lot for me sometimes to answer big questions about life and death,
Mm.
especially in the middle of whatever. Because, your kids will hit that with you, right? And
The,
you're in the middle
the
of
random moment.
whatever. Yeah. And it's always when you're in a hurry. You're like, try to get them ready for school and the breakfast and brush your hair and whatever. And it's always right in the middle of that it's like, what, Mama, what's string theory or whatever it is, right? You're like, oh God, how much time do we have? Not a lot. You're like,
Oh,
Mama, what's a soul? He's asked me that. What's a
oh my
soul?
goodness.
And I'm like, okay, we got to leave for school in 2 minutes. How about we talk about this another time? I don't even know how to
Yeah.
answer that question. What's a soul? You're asking me, as parent, you got to do so much. I'm like, I have to make you breakfast and pack your lunch, and now I got to answer what's a soul? All by 7:45
Um,
a.m. That's a lot,
yeah. Just throw it on the to-do list. No big deal.
Yeah, right. No big deal. Like, I'll get back to
Um,
you.
well, kudos to you for raising such a caring, sensitive son. That's
Yeah,
cute.
thank you.
I love that. Um, this is like the fun age, I think, where they come out with these one-liners.
Yeah.
I used to write them down when my kids were younger. I had like, a notebook that started out like I would take notes at their pediatrician visits. So the front half, like 10 pages, are like notes from the pediatrician. And then there was like,
Hmm.
she's like, they're fine. There's nothing to report. They're fine. So I was like, okay, now I have this whole book. So for each kid, I had a book. And then in the back, I would like write down their little one-liners that they like, things like this that they said. And now that I have teenagers, and sometimes I'll be like, do you remember when you said this or when you did this? And they get a good laugh out of it. um,
I actually started to take notes when I knew I was going to be on the podcast. Now I'm just going to keep it going. I got a Google
keep it
Doc.
going because
I got another one from my little girl who likes broccoli. And one day she was eating broccoli and she asked me, is this going to make me grow big and strong? And so she kept coming into the kitchen and I had like the pan of broccoli and I was kind of cleaning up. So she would come back for more, but then she was like measuring herself up to the kitchen counter. So every time she ate a piece of broccoli, she'd be like, I'm getting a little bit taller. Look how tall I am. And it's like you don't want to be like, that's not how it works, right? Like I'm like, yeah, you're growing, right? But it was so cute.
yeah,
And so
broccoli's
I
good
wrote
for
that one down
bones.
too. Yeah.
Oh my
I was like, yeah,
goodness.
eat your broccoli, you're gonna grow.
You should definitely write them down because they just get funnier as the kids grow up. So last year, my husband turned 50. And I asked each of the three boys, I'm like, can you say a few words at dad's party? And so my youngest, he was 10 years old, and he was like, he did a little infomercial, right? He was like, we have a big problem. Dad's hairline is receding at an alarming rate. And he went into his whole infomercial of dad's receding hairline. And at the very end, he was like, it's a receding faster than we can control it. And this and that. He just went on. And then he was like, if you donate $1, I'll put it towards my Ferrari fund and we'll do nothing about dad's hairline. I was like, oh,
Oh,
right.
that's amazing. That's so funny.
So yes, the kids will keep writing them down because they
Yeah.
get better.
I had one from my the one who's 16 now. When he was like 3 or 4, one of his first jokes, and I took a picture of it, and I still remember because we give them some screen time with iPads and whatnot. He took the iPad charger. It's an Apple charger,
Mhm.
and he was eating an apple, and he plugged the charger into
Nice.
the Apple core. And I saw it and I was like, Pierce, is that supposed to be a joke? And he's like, yeah, because it's an apple. And I was like, that's a really good joke for a 4-year-old. Like that, you got some sophisticated humor there. Like,
Yeah.
good job. Yeah, it was good. They're
Nice.
all really funny. The teenagers, I gave them a ride somewhere and I made them laugh because when we were in the car, I said, okay, you guys, I need you guys to explain to me the slang of your generation, like skibbity,
Oh, good luck.
sigma male. Those are the two off the top of my head, but I had like a list and they just laughed. They're like, oh my God. I'm like, yeah, we're doing this.
My husband does that too. Or he'll start to try like use the words in the sentence and then they're like, nope,
Yeah. They're like,
no.
nope.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
And it's in part because I heard my little ones using these words and I was like, okay, there's a list of words that
Yeah.
I've heard you guys all say, even the little ones. And I don't think the little ones even know what they're saying. So I would
Yeah.
like you guys to explain this to me.
And once you start and you learn them, they're done. They're like, nope, we're never using
Yeah.
that word again.
Yeah. I don't use them. But I did read a thing that skibbity's now in the dictionary.
Oh
In the
my.
in the Cambridge University dictionary now includes skibbity. And I was like, all right, well,
Excellent.
cool. Language is always evolving.
Oh my. All right. Well, moving on.
Yeah.
You describe yourself as a highly sensitive woman. So tell us what qualities a person who is highly sensitive would have.
Yeah, a lot of it is sensitivity to the environment.
Mhm.
So it could be things like sensitivity to the comfort of your clothing, sensitivity to loud sounds, bright lights, strong smells. You don't want to be in crowds too long. If anyone hears the phrase highly sensitive and thinks, oh, that might be me, I would recommend reading the book, The Highly Sensitive Person by Dr. Elaine Aron. That's where I learned about this. And she also has an assessment that you can take, which I got a perfect score on. You don't have to get a perfect score to be considered a highly sensitive person, but um, I happened to get a score and I was like, I think I should pay attention to this.
Yeah.
So, yeah, a lot of it is environmental sensitivity. Um,
Mm.
Even things like medicines or caffeine. But then there are certain emotional sensitivities, like you can really pick up on the mood of other people. You notice a lot of detail. And so, how that can play out in your life is you can you have the potential to get more overwhelmed just by environmental stimuli. So it doesn't necessarily mean over dramatic. I think some people misinterpret it like that.
Yeah.
They'll be like, "Oh, you're so sensitive because she reacted." I mean, it can make you reactive if you're overwhelmed. So
Right.
it's not like there's no correlation, but it has a lot more to do with just like, if you're in a crowded room versus someone who has lower sensitivity and they're in a crowded room or like a Vegas casino, you're going to tap out sooner than a lower
Mm.
sensitivity nervous
Right.
system type is going to tap out.
Yeah.
Just be like, okay, I'm done. I've had enough. Now I got to go somewhere
Oh yeah.
quieter.
I can relate to that.
Yeah, yeah. I think a lot of people who end up in healing and coaching professions are highly sensitive because
Mm.
we naturally gravitate towards it. Because in the book, overall, she says in humanity, it's about 20% of people,
Mhm.
but in coaching and healing professions, I feel like just almost everyone I talk to is like, oh yeah, that's me. And I'm like, yeah, because you're here instead
Right.
of, working some long corporate job or trying to make a career in politics or, working as a celebrity that has long hours. It's a
Yeah.
glamorous life, but it's a tiring life too,
Yeah.
to work on a movie set or to be a pop star. So,
Yeah. It's a
um,
whole different way
yeah,
of living and a personality and
Very
Everything's
different.
different. Yeah. All right. Well, tell us, or share with us how you help moms as a relationship coach.
Yeah, I know we had talked about dating advice for moms, and the advice that I would
Mhm.
have is for any mom, highly sensitive or not. And I think that, of course, if you're a mom and you're not in a partnership and you're dating to find a partnership, your kids are a factor in that. They
Mhm.
are part of your life, and you and your kids are a package deal. And so you're looking for somebody who is not only going to be a good fit for you, they need to mesh well with your kids also. And you get to decide what that looks like. Maybe you want somebody who's going to take on a stepfather role, or even, if you're, because there's like single parents and then there's, divorced parents or parents who have broken up with their co-parent, but they're still
Yep.
co-parenting.
Yep.
So it's two different, situations there. If
Hmm.
you are divorced, but your kids have a co-parent, you may not
Right.
be looking for another co-parent, but somebody may take on a step-parenting role.
Right.
Step-parenting role, just as someone who is a mom and a stepmom, I love all the kids. I care about the well-being of all the kids. I don't have the same level of responsibility for all of the kids. And that's something that
Mm.
we have found in our household, where it's, again, three parents with various combinations of step parenting and full parenting. Is, I'm the one that takes my biological kids to the doctor and the dentist,
Right.
and do all their school PTA and parent teacher conferences. I'm not really doing that for my stepkids. I'm
Right.
not taking on that role. So that's what I mean when I say that's a different level of responsibility. I'm
Hmm.
definitely paying attention to, are they doing okay?
Right.
Are they struggling with anything? Do they need anything? I want to make sure I'm, cultivating a relationship with them. I don't get to spend as much time with them as I would like, because my hands are pretty full with my 4-year-old and my
The little
7-year-old, and
ones.
and then my parenting bucket gets tapped out, and I'm like, "Ah, I need a break." But I do watch TV with them, and my 14-year-old stepson loves to cook, so we cook together, and he loves everything bacon. So I'm always like, "What do you want to make with bacon in it?" Like a pile of bacon. We'll do the bacon sandwiches. He really likes that. So we've cooked a lot of meals together.
Mm.
But, it's not the same level of responsibility. So that's something to think about, is it important to me as I go forward
Yep.
in dating? Do I really want a stepdad? Or is it fine if it's like a romantic partner who gets along with my kids when they see my kids, but, maybe we don't ever live together? Maybe that's fine, because you need to find your match in dating. Like, whatever you want, there's going to be a match for you either way. Like, there are people out there who want to be step parents. There are men out there who want to be stepdads. There are men out there who will full on adopt your kids if you're a single mom. Like, I have a friend who had kids by sperm donor and does not have a co-parent,
Hmm.
and
Right.
has met men who are like, oh yeah, if this continues to go well, like, I'll adopt your kids. I mean, she has her own things going on where those relationships didn't last, but it's not like you can't find men. Like, she's like, oh yeah, I've had men express interest in adopting my kids one day. So I think it's good for single parents to know that whatever you want, it is out there, but you need to start with that clarity. What is
Yeah.
it that I want? And what's important to me? I would say base level, you got to have someone who's going to get along with your kids and treat them well. Like, obviously,
Hmm.
you're not going to put up with, like, you have these stories. I saw this story the other day on Facebook. I don't know how much truth there is in some of these, but it was like a little girl who kind of like got the attention of a biker dude because she was like, mommy's boyfriend hurts us. And I
Oh.
know everybody has their own stories, but I always wonder about that, as like, you know, that seems like a pretty basic. I know there's a lot of psychology behind what goes into abusive relationships and why people stay in those. So I don't want to sound judgmental, but I'm saying, as a parent who's dating, I think that would be the base level, is that somebody has to treat your kids well and
Mm.
show them love and respect. That would be the baseline. Beyond that, I think you get to decide. There are lots of men who are like, yeah, I'll hang out with your kids and I'll play with them when I'm here, and then I'm going home. I do not want to move in with you. I do not want to be stepdad one day.
Yep.
Maybe that's fine for you. Maybe it's not. Other
Right.
men who are like, I'll be the stepdad. but I don't want to be full parental responsibility.
Right.
That's their dad's job or whoever, right? Others who will,
Right.
they will adopt. They'll be like, yeah, that will become my kid, not on the first date, but they're
No,
open
of
to
course
it
not.
if the relationship, yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
And you can't go on a first date and be like, you're going to adopt my kids one day, right? But the
You'll take
lovely
me and
thing
them
about,
in.
yeah, the lovely thing about dating apps is you actually can put that in a dating profile. You can be upfront in a dating profile. It's one of the things I really like about dating apps.
Well, it's so common
There's,
these days that,
yeah,
it's a high likelihood you're going to find somebody who's been divorced and has kids or,
yeah, that's the thing is, there are a lot of people out there who they also have kids.
right.
And maybe you're going to blend two families together. I mean, that's what we did.
Yep.
Both my ex-husband and his current partner, they came from divorces. That's, my stepkids came from their previous relationships, and all the kids are blended together now and very
Hmm.
happy with siblings.
Yeah. And so
So
it sounds
it
like
can
the
work.
adults are getting along too, right? And
Yeah.
yeah, so
Yeah.
that works. Yeah, so first step is to know what you want, and second step is to really figure out what kind of a relationship you want your partner to have with your kids.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you want in a partner? So that's like one box. So if I'm coaching somebody, because this is one of the steps in my process, is to get really clear on
Mhm.
what kind of relationship you want. So if I'm coaching a single person who doesn't have kids,
Mhm.
that's step one. And then that's, part one. And then we move on to part two, which is becoming the energetic match for that relationship. And that has to do with doing your own emotional healing and how you're interacting with people and what kinds of people you're meeting and where you're meeting them. So if you're a single mom, there's a part two to that, which is, what do I want in a partner's part one? Part two is what kind of relationship do I want them to have with my kids?
Yep, very important. Both are
And
equally
what's the
important.
baseline? Yeah, like what's good enough? I know for me, like I was like, it's good enough to have someone who bonds with my kids well and plays with them and likes seeing them and enjoys their company. I don't feel the need to get remarried.
Nice. Now, you have a free gift called Five Dating Mistakes Every Highly Sensitive Woman Should Avoid. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, this is something that I put together for highly sensitive women because it's something that I noticed I felt was missing a little bit from there's so much great dating advice out there. That's not so great advice, but there's a lot of good advice that I think is like for more of the general public or more general.
Hmm.
But I found that there were pieces that were missing for me until I started looking into the highly sensitive person. And there's another book called The Highly Sensitive Person in Love, which gave me a lot of insight into some of the patterns that I was running. And then I draw on my background in marriage and family therapy as well. So I have training in that. So I put together this PDF of just what are some common mistakes that highly sensitive women are making that they may not realize they're making, even if they're looking at more general dating advice that's out there.
Nice. So if anybody wants Elizabeth's PDF there, I will put the link in the show notes below. And what else? Oh, how can people connect with you?
Sure. Well, you can go to elizabethrave.com
Hmm.
and you can get the PDF there as well, but the link to get it directly will be on the show notes. I also have a podcast called Seeking True Love,
Hmm.
which at some point Ami's going to be on that podcast. And that is a podcast that is geared towards dating advice for highly sensitive women. And it's also about what is true love? Like, what does it really mean to create that fulfilling relationship? Because I actually, in some ways, think it's a never ending journey. It's not a never ending journey to find the right person. That's like at some point you do get into the relationship, but you can always go deeper. And that's what I'm finding in my relationships. You can always go deeper. So I like to explore that. And I like to explore that with other experts.
Nice. So go check out Elizabeth's podcast, Seeking True Love. Again, I can link that in the show notes too. And this was fun. I learned some new stuff today.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Thank you so much for joining me. And I will share all your info and I hope other people can connect with you.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's been really fun. And I love your podcast. I've heard so many good mom stories on your podcast. And
Oh,
it's
I
so
yeah,
great to just hear from other parents because there really is just, it's like you're just like, oh, yeah, okay, someone else gets it.
Yeah.
Like,
I
hey,
just want to
mom,
give
do you want to
moms
see
a
a really
laugh.
big mess? Like, yeah. It's like, yeah. Any mom would be like, hey, mom, do you want to hear a really big mess? Like, I've made some people laugh with that one. So,
Oh, wait till you hear the stories. I have some interesting ones coming
yeah.
up.
Oh, I was gonna say you had a story about your three boys um scheming to get an iPad charger from you. And I think you asked, do girls scheme? And I was gonna say, yeah. My kids have never tried to take a charger, but I have heard my son and my daughter like whispering and like, shh, mom's coming. We don't want her to see what we're doing. And like it doesn't matter what gender they are. This scheming is gonna happen.
Good to know.
Yeah. I thought I'd pass that on. I'm like, there's been a lot of scheming. So
All right. Well, tune in next week and you'll hear of more scheming stories, I'm sure.
I'm sure. Yeah. Thank you so much for having me on your podcast.
Thank you
Really
so much for
appreciate it.
being here.
Are you struggling to be the best mom you can be? Are you fatigued, overwhelmed, and stressed out? Are you losing precious time with your family because of PMS? If so, sign up for my free gift on how to start living in tune with your monthly cycle. The link to get it is in the show notes below. Use this guide to help you start to eliminate your symptoms of PMS, increase your energy, reduce stress, and fully enjoy this incredible mom life. The way I see it, you have three choices. You can try to figure it all out on your own. You can do nothing and stay where you are, or you can get the customized guidance you need to thrive as a mom. The choice is yours. Thanks for listening to today's episode. I hope you learned something from these stories. If you enjoyed this show, please make sure to subscribe, rate, review, and share this podcast. It really helps this show grow. If you have a mom story you would like to share, click on the link in the description below on becoming a podcast guest. Remember, the content on this podcast is for general information only. It does not replace any medical advice given by your healthcare providers. Please check with your doctor if you have any questions about your specific condition and before starting any new diet or exercise regimen. Thank you, and you will hear from me soon.